we have a brand new game.
I was trying to contain myself. Oh my.
Let's go option one, not safe. These are insane.
And Brandon keep killing it.
What's good, Creative Fam? Brandon Washington here, and welcome back to another episode of Uncensored. Yo, first of all, shout out to everybody who's already in the chat. I see, Scott, I see you already at it. You're setting the record straight before the show even gets started. But we're super excited to have you guys here this week. We've got a crazy rumor-filled show. We've also got some incredible news. Some news that might be a little... I don't know how to put it. It's going to ruffle some feathers for sure in the world of AI. But as usual, I am not here by myself to cover these news stories. I've got my amazing host and great friend, Mr. Jarrell Peak, in the building.
What's up, Creative Fam? And what's up, Brandon?
Dude, this, I already know where the show is going, and this is definitely your show. Like, this is so much a Jarrell-filled show. Unapologetically, if you are a Canon, what did you call yourself last week?
Fan people,
not a fanboy.
Fan people.
If you are a Canon fan people, this is definitely going to be a show you're going to love. And if you are a someone who just loves to know what's coming down the pipeline, because it does affect other manufacturers, I think you're going to have a great time today too.
Yeah, there's been so many cool rumors that have come out and stuff that Canon's currently doing that it's definitely worth talking about.
Yeah, but let's also be honest. Some of this stuff just sounds like complete crap, right? Like there's no way all of this is even remotely possible.
You know what I think that we have potentially done?
Yeah, what's that?
I think because Canon drops so infrequently, we have built up the expectation so high that when they do drop, even when their cameras are incredible, it almost feels like a letdown.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you see too many trailers for a movie or too many people, like, hype it up, like, you're just, like, you go into it with the expectation being a 10, and if it's out of 10, there's really no way you can be blown away, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of just, like, they just either meet your expectations or they sort of let you down.
Definitely. So, I know that I'm contributing to the problem.
Well,
but we love it.
Well, I absolutely love it. This is going to be a fantastic show, and we're excited for you guys to be here. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from in the chat. We always love to know where you guys are tuning in from, because surprisingly, we get people from all around the world, which is absolutely amazing. Now, shout out to, I got to give a quick shout out because somebody just made a comment about it. But yes, we got some new Friday Red mic screens.
Yes. Now, are they showing up red on your screen?
Yeah, I think they're kind of red on mine, but they look a little pink on yours. But these are the brightest red screens. Like, we're about to redo our entire lighting just so you guys can see what this actually looks like. So we're going to be calling out Brady or something to come and help us with our lighting.
Every week.
Yeah.
Trying to step it up.
Every week. We're going to try to keep adding new things. But we got people tuning in from Earth. Shout out Scott, tuning in from Earth. That's good to know, because sometimes some of the stuff he knows makes me feel like he could be from another planet. So it's like, it's just good to know that he's still here. You know what I mean? San Antonio in the building. A couple people coming in from NYC, Tennessee.
Man,
all right,
Tennessee.
Dude, I love Tennessee. It's like,
and hey, the great town of Humble, Texas.
Who's in Humble, Texas?
Humble, Texas. D-Buck fan.
Oh, shout out. Oh, dude, you're like right up the road.
Now, if you read that and you said, did he say humble? Did he forget the H? Yes, that's what it is here in Texas.
That's how we say it.
We are not humble. We are humble.
We are an humble. Yo, we got somebody tuning in from France with the Olympics and everything going on. That's where all your R1s are.
Are you related to Canon?
Yeah. Got some more people coming in. North Carolina, someone else from Tennessee representing Michigan in the building. Tallahassee, Florida. You know what? So I've never been to Tallahassee, but if you've ever seen what's the zombie movie? There's a character whose name is Tallahassee.
New one or old one?
It's a newer one.
Oh no.
But yeah, it's gosh, I can't believe I lost that movie. If y'all know what movie I'm talking about, let me know.
H-Town. H-Town in the
there.
business.
But yeah, we what did he say?
James
Me and my friends talk
Canwright.
about the silent H all the time. Talk about that silent H. For those of you guys who don't know, though, we are currently streaming not only here on the main channel, on the Brandon Washington channel, but we are also streaming right now on our secondary channel, which is Uncensored. Let me go ahead and pull this up, make sure that this is nice and big for you guys, that way you guys can actually see everything. But yeah, we are currently streaming on the Uncensored channel as well. And so for those of you guys who are hanging out with us, we would love it if you guys could just, go check out the Uncensored YouTube channel. That is where we post all of our clips. It's where we post all of our shorts, and we actually live stream on both. So we do have some bonus streams that we are working on bringing to you guys. And so those will all be done over on the Uncensored channel. So definitely go make sure you check out that channel as well. And we'll have that linked up in the comment section as well. And the movie I was talking about, thank you so much, D-Bucks fan, is Zombieland.
Yes.
Dude, he's one of my favorite characters by far. Another person who shouted out Zombieland. Yeah, that's absolutely the movie I was talking about. So yeah.
This is why we need the chat.
This is why we do the show live. Because if we didn't, Lord knows I would make all kinds of mistakes. But super, super excited about today's episode. I personally think that today we are going to have a show for the ages when it comes to talking about these Canon rumors. Because we talk a little bit about Canon rumors here and there. There's one or two things. But bro, some of the stuff you found.
I don't think that's a true statement, Brandon.
Why?
I feel like the Canon rumors a month ago were at a 10. And these rumors are at a 20.
That's what I'm saying. This is going to be one for the ages.
Well, they were already crazy a month ago, and now they're ludicrous. Put it on ludicrous mode, Elon Musk.
Dude, I'm ready for it. That's what I'm here for. We're gonna talk about some rumors, bro. Let's just go for it. You know what I mean? So let's absolutely go for it. So real quick, just a quick reminder, because we did get the chat pulled up. Thank you so much, Starlight Photos. We do have our Uncensored YouTube channel, the creative. It's youtube.com/ or at the Creative Fam Academy. Definitely go subscribe over to that channel, because that's where we're going to keep posting clips. We'll have some bonus live streams happening over there. So shout out to everyone who is subscribed over at that channel. Last time I checked, we were just a few subscribers away from hitting 1,900 subscribers, on our way to 2,000. Be amazing to hit that in the month of August. But yeah, for those of you guys who love this show, who rock with the show, definitely do us a huge favor and go subscribe to that channel over there. But all right, Drell, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to you to sort of just kind of bring us into this new world of Canon rumors, just to kind of set the tone of where we're going to go today. And while you do that, I'm going to get the next slide set up.
So we've got to really talk about this word allegedly, because the reality is you were on one of two sides when Canon dropped the R5 Mark II or the 1RC or the R1. You were on one or two sides. You were mind blown, excited, or you were a little disappointed in the flagship. You didn't feel like Canon did enough. And so it's crazy. I don't know if you've been on the internet or you've been on YouTube and you've seen it. There seems like there's real, maybe not Canon haters, but definitely people that feel like they were disappointed. And then there was people that felt excited about what's going to happen. And so what this has led to is it's led to some conspiracies and some rumors about what Canon may have in the shadows. So we're going to report on some things that we've seen. We're not just telling you our wish list and things that we think that are true. Some of these things may be completely out of hand, which I think this very first one is going to be out of hand. But because people feel like the actual flagship cameras weren't all that incredible, I think they were incredible, but because they thought that they weren't fully incredible, they're wondering if there is a new flagship that's going to come out called the R1X. You got it, Brandon?
I think so.
Oh, look at it. All right.
I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to get this back to where it is in full screen. But
so Brandon, I just want to know from you. I'm going to read you some specs of the supposed R1X. And I want to know if you think this is a real possibility, even a possible thing.
Okay.
All right. So the real flagship will be a high resolution monster, meaning 80 megapixels. Okay.
Okay.
Second is quad pixel autofocus. Right now, Canon updated the intelligent dual pixel autofocus where they do horizontal lines and vertical lines, but this is quad pixels. So this would be a massive jump in their autofocus. Internal NDs.
Wait.
Internal NDs.
Okay, sorry. Let me let you go.
A DGO sensor. Okay.
What
So
is
like
that?
the C70
Okay.
and the C300 Mark II.
Okay.
Or Mark III. 18 plus stops of dynamic range. A global shutter. And even more intelligent AI than they currently have in the R1 in the R5 Mark II.
Okay, so I feel like this list is not a rumor list. I feel like this is more a wish list from someone who felt royally let down by the R1.
These rumors, this rumored spec, were rumors like from over a year ago, not in release to.
Okay.
They didn't know that it was the R1X. They thought this would be the flagship of the R1. And so then another piece to add into this isn't the first time Canon has done different flavors of their cameras. So if you remember back in the day, they had the 5 series. And then they would do their higher resolution, like they'd go up to 50 megapixels.
That was the 5DS.
5DS. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And then if you also remember on the 1D series,
Right.
they had the 1DX,
Right.
and then the 1DC
Yes.
for cinema. So it wouldn't be completely out of hand. Some of these specs sound out of hand.
I feel like they're still reaching.
Yeah.
I'll let you cook. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I'm not saying all of these specs are potentially true. And I'm not even saying in 2025, because if this came out, this feels like a $15,000 to $20,000 camera, which it might not kill the R1 sales. But if this thing was, I don't want to put a price on it. But you can see Canon releasing flavors of the R1. Like I personally would want, we've talked about it here on the show, I would want a 1RC.
Yes. Yeah. So I think when it comes to this rumor specifically, I think there is some validity to the idea that, there could be a Canon R1X that will show up at some point. But dude, the specs that you just read off, I mean, if I pull those back up really quick for like, so people can see what you were saying. So read them off one more time for everyone who's just joining. Just read them off quick. Cause I just to give us a quick idea of like what these are.
80 megapixels.
Wow. Okay. Keep going.
Quad pixel autofocus.
Boom.
Internal NDs. On a mirrorless body. DGO sensor. 18 stops of dynamic range. That's probably the most unbelievable.
That's the most unbelievable?
Well, not Canon, but 100 megapixel cameras aren't crazy.
Yeah.
So that's not crazy.
Okay.
Who knows what quad pixel autofocus means?
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I feel like, when I finish this off, 18 stops of dynamic range, global shutter, updated AI, it just feels like a fever dream.
Unicorn, yes.
Yeah, like someone's like, oh, who's your source? And it was a guy I met in my dream, but he told me he was in my dream from Canon. He couldn't meet me in person, but he gave me all these specs, so I know it's real.
But which one sounds more like a flagship? The R1 or the R1X?
This glorified whatever whoozy whatty of a camera that you just made up, that I will say that's more.
That sounds like a flagship.
You know what? Here's the funny part about this. Because this is a rumor, let's say this camera does exist and let's say Canon releases it next year, I guarantee you Canon fan people will find something wrong with it and be like, this is the flagship, but really our next flagship is going to totally take over.
So I don't think that these are the real specs. I don't even know if a R1X is going to happen, but I will say this, something closer to this is, I think, what people are hoping for in a flagship from Canon that they've waited 5 years for. So maybe not 80,
yeah,
but 45. What do you think it would need to be between the 24 and the 80? Where do you feel like they need to land, knowing that the R5 is a 45 megapixel?
I think that people would like probably. I mean, honestly, I think if you just put a 45 megapixel in a R1 style camera, and you just so that way you have the best of both worlds. You have a low megapixel version, you have a high megapixel version. I am one of those.
I'm gonna
people,
go 50.
I mean, 50 is gonna sound great on marketing.
It needs to be better than the R5.
Okay, so you just literally just want to jump up just so you can just say you're better.
Just a little bit.
Just enough.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm here for it. I get it.
I don't want to rehouse R5.
I don't want to rehouse. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because they definitely would just put the same sensor in. That's exactly what they would do.
And, bro, it's got to be less than 10,000.
Yeah. I don't
it has to be. It could be 9,999.
Yeah.
But if it is $1 more, that's going to be a hard buy.
Yeah. No, I think even at 9,999, it's gonna be a hard buy for most.
Yes.
But I think realistically they could come in at like 7,999. Because what's the R1? 60?
It's 64.
64?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you come in like just under 8, you'll be good.
We're gonna double everything about this camera, and we're only gonna charge $1,000 more.
1,500 more. All right. Let's see what they're saying in the chat.
So
go ahead.
Up or down? What do you guys think?
What are you guys thinking? Are we gonna see a Canon R1X? Let us know.
This is silly.
This is ridiculous. This is absolutely insane. Let's go to the chat real quick. It says, this is silly. People have been dreaming about these specs for so long. Yes, I absolutely love it. Let's go to the next one. He says, I can see a global shutter is possible. At least that. You know what? Didn't they just have, we reported on this a few months ago, or about 2 months ago, that Canon did actually file a patent for their first global shutter. So,
absolutely. And you doubted me.
You're right.
You doubted me.
You're right.
Because it was for an industrial camera.
But if
you were like, things don't ever trickle down.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
Hey, this is it. The R1X is coming. You heard it here first. Global shutter. Canon's going to call me after this live stream and be like, how did you know? How did you know we had 80 megapixels ready to rock and roll? Oh, my goodness. Here it goes. A camera like that will come out, but Sony will be the one to produce it.
Not going to lie. With Canon being behind the Z9 and the Alpha 1, I'm a little bit worried that the A1 II, what are they bringing to the table?
Yeah, I love this one. He says the readout speed is going to be 3 to 5 business days. You know what's funny? We did just post a clip that a lot of people have been really liking about kind of like our whole process of like cameras coming out.
Yeah.
So even if we do get a R1X, I can almost guarantee it'll be like a 6-month wait from the time they announce it to the time you actually get it in your hands.
They're going to make 6 copies. That's it.
And then I love this one here from Scott. There are 2 flagship classes, still and cinema. So,
ooh.
I mean, personally, all these rumors sound great for this camera. I don't care about most of them.
Yeah.
But if I started hearing rumors about an R1C or a C1R, however they want to do it, that would pique my interest.
I feel like if they took the 1DC and gave it autofocus, I'd buy it today.
Oh, the older one?
The old one.
I wouldn't do that. But
have you recently, like, you can look up 1DC footage of people still using it today?
Oh, the footage is not the problem. It looks beautiful as a camera.
Yes.
But my issue was the motion JPEG codec.
Yeah,
That was a nightmare.
for sure.
I mean, we had to
Would
deal
it
with
matter on Max today?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I still think it'd be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
But all right, if you guys think that's the only rumor we have for you, you are wrong.
We have so many more Canon, more believable rumors.
We'll see. So let's go through these next couple Canon rumors. We'll go through them a little bit faster.
Yes.
And chat, we want you to tell us, what do you think about some of these crazy rumors, and which one do you think are actually realistic? Which ones do you think we'll actually see this year? And heck, I mean, we're dreaming, right?
Absolutely.
So let us know if something's not on the list. What do you want to see this year?
Yes.
All right, Jarrell, let's pull up the next one.
Yeah. So the next one is the R5C Mark II.
Ooh.
Now, here's the interesting part with this one. It's going to have all of the same features of the R5 Mark II, but it's going to have built-in active cooling, like kind of like the fan module that we had on the R5. And so, with the hopes of less overheating and longer run times. So, I also feel like they would need to improve battery life, especially on their cinema menus. Like, do not just bring a ported cinema menu onto an R5 Mark II. But 45 megapixels, digic accelerator processing, dual pixel autofocus, eye control, 8K 60 RAW, 4K 60 SRAW, up to 30 frames, pre-continuous shooting modes, and built-in active cooling.
Yeah, you know what? When I look at the R5C, because I bought the R5C, loved it when it first came out. When the announcement of it came out, I was really excited about it, but there were definitely problems with that camera. And I actually bought it right before NAB last year. So I took it with me to NAB. I went to Canon's booth, and I spent like a solid hour and a half at their booth, just grilling them about this camera, how to make it better, all the issues that I was running into. And we got software updates to actually make the camera better. But the problem that I still kept running into that I just could never really get a solid solution on was battery life. And sure, they had the whole Anchor collaboration where it was like, oh, use an Anchor battery, because that was the other issue with the camera, was certain features you had to externally power the camera in order to be able to fully take advantage of everything that the camera could do. Add in the fact that the Canon, LP batteries lasted maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes inside the camera when rolling. You could put a R5
for the cinema mode, yeah.
For the cinema, that's the only way to shoot video was in cinema, right? You then throw on they didn't make an actual battery grip for that camera. They just said that the R5 battery grip would work on it. So that gave you 2 more batteries. It extended your battery life. I don't even feel like it was fully double, even though I was putting 2 batteries in there. But it did give you a little bit better battery life. But man, I was chewing through batteries. And so if they are going to bring us a R5C Mark II at this point, the number one concern that I think they have to fix is battery life. That is by far the number one biggest thing they need to fix. And then from there, if they give us some extra improvements, I'll take them. But if it doesn't come with a substantial battery improvement, I think it's a waste. I think it's a non-starter.
Yeah, I think for me, the R5C felt like we had overheating issues with the R5, and this could be wrong, but it felt like we had R5 overheating issues, and R5s were on the shelf. Now, they obviously fixed it with firmware upgrades, but it felt like, hey, we have all these R5 parts, let's make a camera. So it felt like a reaction.
Yeah.
Where now you had years, 3-4 years, to create a perfect hybrid camera, true hybrid camera. So hopefully it addresses all of those things.
Yeah, the only concern that I have with the R5C getting a version 2, which, I mean, this would be fantastic if they do give it to us, is I'm wondering, is that the right body for a hybrid cinema
we need
camera?
a 1RC.
And that's what I keep going back to, because when you look at the R1, the R3, even the 1DC back in the day, it used the 1DX body type, and it was a better battery solution, a bigger unit, and I think you could do some stuff with cooling that was a little bit better. Now, granted, with the new R5 Mark II that just came out, they did introduce a new grip that has basically the fan built into it. So maybe there is a way for them to do this where it's, it makes sense and it's gonna work and it won't overheat.
Yeah.
But dude, they gotta fix the battery issue. And that to me is a absolute must before they do anything else. And I'm honestly more so open to them switching away from the R5 body type to a bigger 1DC or R1C type body type. That's just my opinion. But, who am I?
Absolutely, because I feel like the R3 and the R1 are lighter than the 1DX Mark II series, was, and the 1DX Mark III. And so even though it's bigger, I think because of its weight reduction, it's worth it.
Yeah. Now, I absolutely love this comment coming in from Anthony. What's up, brother? He says that the R5C was Canon's reaction to Sony having a FX3 and FX30. And you know what? That does make a lot of sense. I think it was, having some type of a cinema camera in that realm, I think makes sense for Canon. And ironically, with the 1DC, they got there early, but it was way too expensive.
Yeah.
And even with the R5C, that's even still too expensive. So I think if Canon does want to compete with a FX3 and an FX30, if they're going to play in that price range, the camera's got to come like ready to go. And I think that's one of the reasons why when you look at like the FX3 and the FX30, they're just built really well. They do their job very well, but they don't really stretch. Like you think about it, it doesn't have 8K, it doesn't have like its own cinema menus or anything like that. Like it's running the same OS as like the A7 series cameras. So like, and like they're just now starting to add in little things like shutter angle and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to see, like, I mean, obviously I'm here for the fight. I want to see the brands compete against each other, one get better to push the next one to get better. But yeah, I think an R5C Mark II, there's a few things they're going to have to fix on that camera specifically. And with it being a Mark II, it better come correct. And it seems like they know what they're doing because the R5 Mark II looks like the right step.
Yep.
But, let's see what an R5C Mark II looks like. That'd be really sick.
Yeah, that feels strange to me that was what they were competing with, considering how good the FX3 and the FX30 is. Like, its size, its battery, its features. Like, it kind of felt like with the battery life of the R5C, it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like limited. Yeah. So.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
Next one coming up is potentially an R7 Mark II. Now, the actual like specs that we could find on it, there's only two things that we could find that seem like they were somewhat legitimate. And it's going to be a new stacked APS-C sensor, so faster readout times, which the camera's already pretty fast, so going to help a lot with sports and wildlife, and potentially bumping it up to 40 frames per second in photos.
Yeah, I actually love the R7. Actually, I have one here, and I use it for a lot of like top-down stuff. And like, yeah, it's APS-C, but like there are so many amazing features built into that camera. I mean, it literally is like a R6, but just in a cropped sensor. So you're gonna save quite a bit of money on it, but it works as far as like video phenomenally. And as far as photography goes, like you mentioned before, when it comes to things like sports or wildlife, birds or whatever, like having that extra little bit of reach on your lenses actually goes a really long way. And so of all of Canon's cameras that have like come out that have like, I know they've had a lot of problems with stuff, and I'm not talking about the newest releases, not the R1 or the R5 II, because I haven't accessed those, but of most of Canon's cameras that have come out, the R7 continues to be, for me, a champion for Canon. It's a very easy, like, hey, I'm trying to get my first camera. What should I get? Or, hey, I'm looking for a secondary camera. The R7 just always feels like a no-brainer because the battery life is good.
$1,400.
I mean, $1,400, you're getting the newer battery life. Because like, I really would like to recommend the R8 for a lot of people because it's full frame, but it's kind of limited on what it can do from the internals. And that lower battery life, like it uses the smaller battery, makes it a tough camera to say, oh, you can buy this and upgrade within your Canon journey and take everything with you, because you can't. Like, as we talked about last week, like that Canon battery has been like standing the test of time.
Oh yeah.
Since like the 5D Mark I or Mark II days.
Yeah.
So like to be able to take that same battery and level up as you go, and to take something like an R7 and upgrade to an R6 or to an R5 and know that it's going to run with you, I'm absolutely all here for it. The only spec that we haven't talked about when it comes to these Canon cameras that, like, when we're talking about rumors, I know we're talking about like the sensor and what can it do and the processor and you know, all that stuff. But I have a request going forward for all Canon cameras when it comes to, if you are going to upgrade a Canon camera from this point forward, if you're not coming with a full-size HDMI, don't even release the camera. Don't even release the camera.
I think that you would be... Oh, what does the Z6 Mark III have?
Full size.
I feel like anything less than $2,500, you should fully expect micro.
No, I'm sorry. I will not. I'm not.
You think the R7 and the R8's gonna get a full size HDMI?
I'm not asking for 4K raw out of it.
You're the unicorn. You're the unicorn spec.
I'm just saying, just give us full size HDMI out.
I'm not saying that I don't want it. I'm saying it would be an incredible idea. Bro, they've been rocking with that micro HDMI since the beginning of time, bro.
Because they had too many parts in the bin, bro. I'm saying just get rid of the parts in the bin. Let's go full size and let's be done with it.
My 1DX doesn't have full size HDMI.
And how old is that camera? Let's step into the future.
It's old.
Listen to me. Look, don't listen to Draw.
They thought micro HDMI was professional.
I'm taking the camera. Canon, look at me.
Scoot back, you're out of focus.
I am the captain now. You hear me? Canon, focus right here. Full size HDMI. That's all we want. Don't give us anything else. Full size HDMI on every camera going forward. Make the camera an extra $100. I don't care.
Make it an extra. No, get that off of Temu, Canon.
Yeah, if you gotta
get the full size off of Temu.
If you gotta get the full size off of Temu, we'll take it for those cheap cameras. But full size HDMI, let's go. Good night.
Temu. Alrighty.
All right, you ready for the next story?
We got one off the beaten path.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't even know how to. I'll just let you go because this is dumb.
This is not dumb.
This is dumb.
Not every camera was made for you, Brandon.
You're right. But chat, tell me if this ain't dumb.
This is a wearable camera. Okay, this is a patent for a wearable camera. I'm gonna call it the snake camera. The Canon Snake.
This is the Canon Snake Cam.
This is not for vloggers. This is not for filmmakers. This is for industrial use. So imagine you are on a factory line or you're repairing some sort of piece of equipment. This has a laser indicator to show the point of focus to ensure that you're in the right area of the frame. So basically, your supervisors want to know that you're doing the right stuff. Maybe they'll put this on you as you're editing videos and they can make sure you're using the right shortcuts.
Dude, this is like Big Brother to the next level. You know what? As I was saying that, you know who's going to wear this camera?
Police officers?
No. They run too much. It'll fall off. They got to have something like a strong magnet hooked onto them.
People will be like, what's around your neck, bro?
You know who's going to wear this camera? I can tell you I know exactly who's wearing this camera. You ready?
Yeah.
The humanoid robots are going to wear these cameras. Yes. The cheap ones, right? Because the good ones are going to have cameras in their face. But the cheap ones, they're going to have these on when they're replacing us. So it's going to be like one human sitting in a room looking at a bunch of walls of footage. And they're going to be like, that robot is not performing well enough. Let's do a software update on robot number 65. That's who's going to win. Dude, this thing, I'm sorry.
The Temu robots.
This is a wild style camera. Let us know. Okay, some of y'all are putting stuff in the chat I cannot bring up. But somebody said this is about to be as dumb as the new VR lenses. Yeah, well, hey, we got
No, that's too low. That's too low. This is way dumber.
Yeah, no, this
VR might be the future. Who knows?
Oh, okay, I like RJs for motorcyclists. This could be cool. But I just feel like we already have solutions for this. Like, this is GoPro, right? Like, hasn't GoPro been like, they didn't perfect drones. We know that much, right? So they have been perfecting wearable cameras for a minute.
Dude, the size of that battery could be so large.
For what reason? The whole snake is the battery. Oh, man.
1 week battery life.
Yeah, chat, let us know. How do y'all see this being used? Make sure it's safe for work. Make sure it's safe for work. Humanoid robots working in the factories out these 80 miles per hour. Yes, I love it. Oh, my goodness.
Now, I am a Canon fan, people, but this next one is probably the biggest fail.
No, let's go to it, bro.
I can think of. Canon, stay in the mirrorless handheld camera game. Okay, so one last potential camera from Canon is an AI-powered camera capable of flying, doing both videos and stills, so a drone. It can automatically detect movements, can track the subject, and be controlled using voice commands. Its resolution could be, supposed, rumored, 11.7 megapixels.
So a drone.
Do not pull a karma.
Okay, look, here's my thing. I'm gonna be very very straight about this story. I want Canon to crush it when it comes to releasing a drone, because somebody has to challenge DJI.
What do you need them to do to crush it?
Well, step one, make sure your drone doesn't fall out of the sky.
Okay.
Right? So I think that's like that's just opening the door to get in. Now, 11 megapixels or whatever it said, like that's not gonna be enough. I think you need to come into the gate with a consumer drone that is easy to fly, but and has good, let's call it R7 quality video on it. Now, we know that Canon has the tech, whether they pull from one of their mini mirrorless cameras or they pull from their PTZ cameras. They have the tech from the image quality and the image processing down. I think where it's going to really come into play is the drone itself, how it flies, does it fly? And I'm not really looking for one of those little tiny toy drones that you kind of put up in the air and it tracks you. Like that picture basically showed. Don't do that. Give us a actual drone that creators can use, because then we'll make content with the drone, showing off the drone, and then you can take that money and then go funnel it into making all the other stuff.
I have a slightly separate take, different take. Canon, do not release a drone that has a camera on it.
Ooh.
Release a drone that you can literally put your R7, R8, R5 Mark II
now
into it. Just for a price point comparison, release a sub $3,000 drone. And obviously they could be different models depending on which of your Canon cameras you put in there.
Right.
But literally just design a camera and a gimbal system that you can put your camera in, and design or steal or whatever from DJI, their transmission system, and just create the actual flying portion of it. Because if we could do 8K 60, you're going to crush it. You are going to literally annihilate. Personally.
I'm gonna tell you why I think you're wrong. And it's not I love that idea.
Yeah.
But we've already seen that been tried by someone who I thought would have won, but they didn't. And that was Sony. Sony did exactly what you're talking about with the Air Peak drone. They can't. Yes,
Air Peak drone.
Exactly.
So I've heard of that.
So that face that you're making is the problem with the Sony Air Peak drone. They literally came out with a drone.
It's too expensive, bro.
But that's the issue. If you're gonna build a drone that can carry a payload, it's got to be an expensive drone.
Is it good?
The Air Peak drone? So I've seen it at 2 different Sony events, and it does its job. It flies well. The people I've seen fly it
FX3.
with it. That's literally why I thought. So this drone came out before the FX3 came out. And they were showing a bunch of like test footage with a Sony Alpha camera in there. And then a couple footage had like a very stripped down looking Sony Alpha camera. Turns out that was the FX3 the entire time. And so it literally felt like the FX3 was made for this drone. But I think the problem that you are talking, or that the solution that you're talking about presents a different problem. And that is that if somebody spends $2,000 to $3,000 on their camera, they don't want to stick it in a drone and send it up to the sky. Because if you lose it, you lose your camera and you lose your drone. Like, how many times have you been doing a job, doing a shoot or whatever, and like, you know, you have your camera, you have your drone, and you told me about this. You flew your drone and you crashed it, right? Well, what did you do? You just went to the store, picked up another drone, and you were ready to keep going. But if in that moment, you not only lost your drone, but you also lost your camera, now you've got to go rebuy both.
Yes.
That's probably not going to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to buy the camera and you're just going to buy a DJI drone and say, I'm just going to deal with that for now.
In principle, I believe you and agree with you. I've just been watching too much Potato Jet recently.
Yeah, well,
This man,
he gets the
this
best of
man
us.
be putting, when he put the R5 Mark II on an FPV drone and sent it, it gave me some confidence.
Well, you know, and like I get that. Like, I mean, when I tested out the Komodo X, I did the same thing. We took the Komodo X, we threw it on an FPV drone, we threw it on a gimbal drone, we sent it up into the sky. Now, granted, wasn't my camera. You know, it wasn't my camera. It was on loan to me. So, and you know, the folks who loaned it to me, I knew if something happened to it, they'd have another one. So they'd be okay. But that's the thing, is I just don't know if people are going to be willing and open to the idea of taking their camera and throwing it in. So that's why I say Canon needs to come out with a consumer drone that is done.
Yes.
It has the camera built into it, because that's at least a place to start. I think Sony tried not to compete with DJI.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, DJI does have drones, so you can put your own camera in them, but those don't sell, right?
Yeah.
But so Sony was like, oh, let's enter the market from this new angle, but that angle doesn't work, I don't think, for the masses.
Oh,
if you're trying to gain market share quickly, which is going to put pressure on DJI, which is all I really want, because then DJI will get better if they don't get banned.
Yeah.
But, you know, if they can do that, come out with a consumer drone,
100%.
take your sensor, take your tech, take it out of the point and shoots that's nobody buying, throw that into a decent sized drone, go buy a drone company if you need to, acquire them, so that way you can come on board and start to make a difference in the drone space. Because let's face it, DJI needs some competition.
Absolutely.
And I'm here for it.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I do think from a consumer standpoint, you need a $500 drone, $1,000 drone, $1,500 drone. I think that's super needed. Those are going to be the most that you sell. From a filmmaker standpoint, you can pretty easily match Mavic Pro footage to your C70, your FX3, that sort of deal. I think if I would fly drones differently if I knew my camera was up there. And I don't even fly it recklessly now because I've already lost too many drones. But if I knew I was just going to do a quick orbit, or I knew I was going to do a push in, or I was going to do like any of those things, I would feel comfortable putting up my camera on DJI's current tech.
Yes.
DJI's tech from the Phantom 3 days when I was worried about flyaways, probably not sending up my camera on that. But now, if we have the same sort of stabilization, satellites, all that sort of stuff, from a filmmaker standpoint, if it wasn't $9,000, I'd do it.
Well, I think I'm going to end this quick drone conversation with this super chat that just came in. Shout out to Starlight Photos, who says, until Canon catches back up in the camera space, I need them to stop messing around with these non-camera.
You be sounding like a Sony fan person.
Dude, I mean, Canon's got a lot of work to do, so
hold on. We have to see real world reviews of the R5 II. And we don't need to see the R1.
We will.
We don't need to see it yet.
We'll see it all from the Olympics.
Well, ain't nobody
pretty
getting it.
soon.
Ain't nobody buying. Well, they might. But we need to see R5 II before we say that they need to catch up. I think they're there.
Okay, we'll see.
I think they're there.
Okay. hey, you know what? That's totally fine. Let's see. Let's go to a quick chat real quick. Scott says, unpopular opinion. DJI is not bad and does not make bad drones. There's just so many drones out there for them to wait, what does it say? There's so many drones out there
from them that you hear more about them.
Yeah.
DJI is fantastic.
Yeah, no.
Their
yeah.
image, their drones,
I don't think that's an unpopular
their
opinion.
sizes, they are killing it.
Yeah,
they just don't have competition.
Yeah, my issue isn't that that DJI drones are bad. In fact, I primarily only fly DJI drones. I mean, when I started, there was like this company called Unique or something like that. Tried their drones. Terrible. But
in fact, everyone is terrible in comparison to DJI.
But my issue is more so in competition. I love when there is competition in the market because you get better pricing, you get better gear, and DJI has recently just been kind of competing with themselves, like even to a point to where like you look at their lineup and there's so much overlap, it literally feels like they're at a place where their team just has to kind of compete with themselves. So yeah, no shade on DJI. I absolutely love what DJI is doing. But yeah, I would love to see more competition just in the drone space in general. That's more so what I'm saying.
And especially if they get banned, which it seems like there has been new bills released to the House that don't talk about them being banned, but just talking about more regulations and blah, blah, blah. But my fear is absolutely, I want competition for the consumer, but I also want competition because if DJI gets grounded, holy crap, I don't want to be months or years from having to be able to fly a drone.
Okay, so this is breaking news inside of the chat right now that I've got to just touch on because this doesn't make any sense. But somebody is claiming, Gabriel is claiming, I picked up my R5 Mark II yesterday.
We were talking about this before the stream.
Was it Gabriel who got it?
I don't know. But on one of the rumor sites that I look at, they said a person got a call from their local camera shop. Gabriel, is this you? Got a call from their local camera shop saying R5 IIs are in stock. Come and pick it up. My man's, maybe Gabriel.
He says, my resource got in a few early, and I live hours away from them.
Was it a local camera shop?
And where is this local camera shop?
Seriously, and how? What's a few?
Fly.
What's a few?
I will fly.
Anyways,
he says it's missing shutter angle in video mode right now. So we'll keep that. We'll keep that for there. But yes, let us know, Gabriel. If where are you located? If you can, allegedly
DM.
Shoot me a DM. Let us know where you're at and where you got these cameras at.
Because for you guys that don't know, is this camera's not supposed to literally ship until August 20th.
Yeah.
So my man Gabriel,
he
if
says
it's
they got
true,
in 5. If it's true, hit us up. DM me.
From Temu or from from Canon.
Oh man, yeah.
Could you imagine the R5 Mark II drops on Temu 2 weeks before the official drop?
That would be
the official supplier of the Canon R5 Mark II.
Oh yeah. All right. Oh, he says, Brandon, call Film Tools. Okay. Might be going back out to LA for a day or two. So
that sounds like lawsuits.
Allegedly.
It fell off the FedEx truck.
He says it fell off the FedEx truck. Oh man.
You got the R5 Mark II. Hey, send us some pictures, homie. Send us some pictures.
Yeah, hey, we need
some proof.
We need proof.
We need some proof.
I want
R5 Mark II. Oh my gosh, bro. That's wild.
Oh gosh. He got that R5 Mark II. Oh, it's like the best comment of all time. Oh, I don't know how I give out an award for that. But somebody please remember this moment. This will be the funniest.
This might have to make it into the intro, bro.
Jarrell, are you crying?
Best joke of the day.
Oh gosh. Oh my God. If that's not a reason to live stream, I don't know what is.
Yes, that's good.
Oh my gosh. My stomach hurts, bro. Oh.
All righty. The culmination of the rumors, probably the most true of the rumors, is this last one.
Okay. We have another story?
It's the last one.
Oh, yeah.
You ready for this?
Yeah, let's run it. Oh,
Reported by Petapixel. Okay. From an unnamed Canon rep, the R3 line will carry on. Actually, if you want to go to the next slide, Brandon, because it'll tell us the exact deal.
Yeah.
It says during the R1 launch event in Arizona, Canon representatives told Petapixel that the R3 line isn't going anywhere. Brandon, before we go to the next slide.
Yeah.
The R3 sits in a very weird place right now with the R1.
Yeah.
Going right ahead of it and not doing a whole ton more than the R3 is able to do right now. So where do you see, what would you need on an R3 to Mark II to potentially, as an R3 user?
Yeah.
You got one right next to you.
Got it right here.
What would you need to upgrade to an R3 Mark II that you weren't getting in an R1?
You know, I'll be honest with you. For me right now, the R1 didn't give me enough, like, oh, I need to upgrade from the current R3.
Okay.
So it's really tough because I feel like they obviously can't make the R3 Mark II better than the R1. That would make no sense. But it's not really that much better than the current R3. So I feel like...
I think they could make it better.
Yeah, you know what they could do? They could put a full-size HDMI on my R3, and I would be ecstatic, bro. I'd be ecstatic.
Do you want some precedent for making the 3 better than the 1?
You think they will make the R3 Mark II better than the current R1?
Do you want some precedent?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. Have you heard of the Sony A9 III?
Okay, I know where you're going.
So, could you test global shutter in the R3 before you bring it to the R1? So maybe have a little bit less dynamic range.
Yep.
You know, maybe try to work out some of the issues with it before you bring it to the R1X.
That's what we said it was, right? Yeah. Look, if you know what, personally, because y'all know, I love my Komodo. I love my Komodo X or my Raptor X. If they were to bring global shutter to the R3
in that body configuration,
I would trade out. I would all you would have to personally. This is a Brandon thing. Nope, this would not probably
skip the R1.
Skip the R1. Let's go global shutter in the R3. Fix the eye tracking thing. Give us some improvements on pre-record. Pre-record be amazing on video and on photography, pre-shutter. If you gave us that whole it shoots 50 frames a second. Or 120 frames a second, but you get 50 photos. Fix all of that, because that's just muddled garbage right now.
Yeah.
But if you did a couple of those things, and the R3 became sort of the testing ground for the next R1 flagship, yeah, I think I'm here for it.
I feel like, if I'm being honest, the R3 would have to come out 2 years from now. You want to know why?
Why?
Bro, if they put global shutter and similar features, because the R3 is not better spec-wise, but more costly than the R5 Mark II.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to put the features that are in the R5 Mark II, maybe not the sensor size, in the R3, because it is the better camera. But since the R5 Mark II is the R1, it has all the same features.
Yeah.
You would essentially be putting everything from the R1 into the R3 and giving it global shutter. And if you sold it in the next 6 to 8 months, the R1 would die.
Yeah. Well,
that's the reason why I feel like it would need to be 2 years from now at minimum, so they sell as many R1s as they can, because the R1 would be dead on arrival if they added global shutter to that.
Yeah, so I agree, but I think they're just like kind of how like we saw with the Sony
A9.
A9 that they put the global shutter in. It didn't take off.
True.
So I feel like global shutter is still very new to the audience, and they're going to need people to have time, and people are not going to like the limitation on dynamic range. And I don't know if you're going to get everything from the R5 in there, because the R5 is still high megapixel camera, 8K. That's not going to come to an R3, I don't think. I wouldn't imagine it would, right? I think they would save that for a R1X or something like that. So like they're not going to put the megapixel super high. So most of those features that make the R5 what the R5 is out the window from the jump. So there is a chance for it. Now, the only thing I will say about this original deal that popped up here was that it does say that, they said that the R3 is going to live side by side. And that doesn't mean that we're getting a new R3. Now, obviously we would love a new R3. But I think that could be
just means they're going to keep making it.
I think that could be clever wording to say that, like, that's like when Apple says the iPhone 14 will live alongside the new iPhone 15, and then the iPhone 14 just, gets discounted by $100 or whatever. So I hope that we get more R3s. But to your point, if Canon doesn't see the R1 moving, I think it's going to be really hard for them to release an R3 that is even remotely as good, because price-wise, it would have to be cheaper. And like you said, I think it would completely cannibalize the R1.
It wouldn't be worth it for the R&D to create an R3 Mark II if you crippled it to not compete with the R1.
But if you put dynamic range, or I'm sorry, not dynamic range, if you put a global shutter in it, it kind of gives you a marketing out to cripple the camera in a way.
Yes.
Because like Scott has even said it here. Like Scott says, like global shutter would significantly lower the dynamic range in the R3, which
maybe Canon just needs to buy Nikon, and then we can have Red's global shutter that doesn't deal with the significant less dynamic range.
We're done with the acquisitions. We're done with camera companies buying other camera companies.
Someone needs to buy Red and get their global shutter.
Good night. I love what Cam Mackey's saying. Shout out Cam. He says, "Is it just me or all these cameras not exciting? I feel like the one thing that could get me excited is raw quality in a mirrorless body." And I feel like when we start looking at all these cameras, like, yeah, it can be kind of like, oh, but this camera has that and that camera has this. And so we're not excited by all the different cameras. But I personally find that like we're about to get to a place to where what Cam said, which is where like for him, it's raw quality, right? I think we're getting to a place where all the cameras are so good where there's like one thing in each camera that like makes you excited about that camera. So whether you're like Cam and you think it's raw, that could be your favorite thing, could not be your favorite thing. It could be something else. It could be global shutter. Like for me, I love global shutter. I would love to see global shutter not only get implemented into these cameras, because I'm not an idiot. I know that the first, like we saw with the Z9 III, like the first implementation of a global shutter for these cameras probably isn't going to be all that great. Even when we saw it with Red, like when we got the first Komodo, that was a decent global shutter sensor, but the color science got tweaked. It got better. Boom. Komodo X comes out and it's massively better in almost every other way. They then take that technology, roll it over into the Raptor X. That now has global shutter. So good, right? Extended highlights. They're able to do even more with it. So I know first iteration of these global shutters on these cameras are not probably going to be amazing, but I just want to see the first one because that's how we get to a second, into a third, into a fourth.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like as we start looking at all these different cameras, we are going to see that everybody's good, but there's going to be one feature per person, I think, that they will be like, oh, that's what makes this camera amazing.
Yeah, I'm with Red when he's talking about Red RAW. Give me 16-bit RAW. Glory. I want it.
Yeah.
I want it.
Well, okay.
Because I'm doing Canon 12-bit RAW, and I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like it. And I could only imagine stepping up to 16-bit glory. And we talked about that last week about Nikon potentially leveraging the red technology in the Nikon bodies. So can't wait to see it, especially in a Nikon body.
All right. We got to move on, but I got to share this. I got to share this. So for those of y'all who...
you got that R5 hookup?
I got something. So I will say, just because I know we put him on blast on the stream, Gabriel did say, and he put it in the chat, that he said pictures were sent over to my contact email. And sure enough, we've got pictures of the R5 Mark II that I've never seen before. So I am inclined to believe, as of right now, that Gabriel does actually have the R5 Mark II in
18 days.
18 days early. And,
log off, Gabriel.
Hey, look, because, and this is just so y'all know this came from the stream, he took a picture of the full-size HDMI port. Bro, I love it. So this is not a R5 Hawk II. This is an officially R5 Mark II. So exclusive. Gabriel, you got it early, dude. This is nuts. That's insane.
Gabriel, can you send us over your resource?
Yeah, let's hook.
Can you send that over too?
hook it up. Oh man, the internet did not like that. It killed our whole feed. What happened?
Canon, what did you do to us?
They didn't like that we were talking. They shut us down.
Canon, why'd you kill us?
Oh man, give me 1 second. Let me try to get these cameras back up.
All right. I'm going to keep talking because I think we're still live. Oh my goodness. So anyway, super excited for all of the Canon stuff. Canon in the house from Scott. Super excited for all of these Canon rumors. You may think that we are just fan people. We are fan people, but, and I say we, me and Brandon, he loves Canon too. We are fan people, but I will say this. We only care about competition. I am so excited about Nikon. I am so excited about literally Sony. I know that Sony's FX3 Mark II is going to be mind-blowing. I am so excited for Canon, and I believe that we are all pushing each other forward. And so can't wait for all of that stuff. Any idea, Brandon, what's going on? No idea, but we're still live. All right, cool. Well, yeah, we are a true podcast now. Do you want to go on to the next subject, Brandon, or do you want to you want to wait? Okay. Cool. Let me see. Thank you guys for hanging on with us through these technical difficulties. Before we go to our next, so it's just cameras not working? Just cameras. Okay, cool. Well, this is your story. Let's go. Do you want to talk? Can you go to the, why don't you have, do you have that? Can you go to slide 4? This one? No. Why don't you have it? It didn't update? Talking about the AE1. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't have that. Oh, that's so weird. Look.
It's so wild. Ask Mr. Camera Junkie live. Why did our cameras click out on Ecamm?
Mr. Camera Junkie, we have a question for you. On Ecamm, our literal cameras decided to not show up anymore on stream. Do you have any fixes or ideas? You want to plug unplug?
They both went out, which is weird.
It is super weird.
They're not coming to the same feed.
Hopefully we're just but a second, chat. We'll be right back with you, chat. Don't go anywhere. Can you finish it so it doesn't mess up the recording? And then relaunch it?
Launch a whole new stream. What did he say?
Ooh. Everyone works in IT. What is it? Yes, RJ. Canon's, what does it say? I can't read it from there.
Which one?
Mr. Camera Junkie. Canon's over there. Cribble.
That's wild.
Brandon,
Yep.
can you for the moment go iPhone and kind of like, you know how you can do iPhone takeover while we figure it out so we can have you on? Canon really sent snipers in on your cameras. Seriously. We got a takedown notice. No, we didn't, but
How wild would that be?
That would be wild.
All right.
Look at this. Alrighty. Brandon, you want me to grab a camera? You want me to grab a camera?
You can try.
And then try that?
Yeah,
all right, cool.
Let me grab a...
do you need a stand?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, I think I can kick over to another phone, too.
You want to go back to your mic?
Yeah, well. See if I flip it that way. There. All right, let's see what we can do here.
Do you know where your iPhone mounts are? Oh, wait a minute. You have this.
All right, chat, give us 1 second. It's got to be flipped that way, and then
This way?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hold this, and then I'm gonna get a stand.
All right. Hey, real quick, shout out to everybody who's rocking with us through all these technical difficulties. Literally, the second we talked about the Canon R5 Mark II, the cameras literally went down, which is wild, absolutely wild. That's never happened. That they both go out and like cameras are still working, everything's still functional. It's just Ecamm is just like, nah, you don't need these cameras anymore. It just literally just kicked it all out. So yeah, we'll go ahead and keep kind of rocking with you guys here for a second. While we do that, Jarrell, can you pass me that mouse right there? I'm gonna go ahead and hop into the chat for a second.
This takes skills, chat. Holding a camera, mousing.
Yo, what's up? All right, let's go into the chat. Let's see what we got going. Yeah, Mr. Camera Junkie, he says, yeah, both together is a bit strange. Yeah, it was weird because they're not even going through the same capture card. So I've never had this happen before here inside of Ecamm, but you know, it is what it is. I think this is what it is. It's Canon's revenge. But we give Canon so much praise at the same time. So I don't know why they're all upset. Say go sit in front of your mic. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here now, Scott. So I got my mic here set up. Let's see what else we got. Saving the stream display layout for the next time the camera company takes them down. Yes. Yeah. He says should have used Sony. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now you guys can actually see the mic. That's funny. the iPhone's doing a better job at showcasing these colors. Ironically, though, this is not like a bad setup at all. Like, I mean, I'm just kind of setting up right here. This isn't terrible. Let's go back into the chat. Cloud Strike from Canon. Yep. Gabriel, I think it's your fault. I think they saw the email that you sent us and they were like, they're showing too much. Too much is getting out too quickly. And they sniped it down. Make sure your cameras are still being recognized by the software or even by the computer. I've had that happen before. Yeah, so it's not currently. That's the issue, is that Ecamm is currently not recognizing either one of the external inputs. It is recognizing this iPhone coming in, but that's going in wirelessly. So I'm not really sure how that happened. But yeah, that's super weird. And like obviously we weren't really prepared for that. So somebody commented and said, "Hey Canon, Brandon is the very reason I wanted an R7." So there you go. Don't please don't come after us. Unless it's unless it is the FBI. I definitely don't need the FBI coming after us. Jarrell, do me a favor, slide just slightly to the side so I can see the chat. Mr. Camera Junkie says new iPhone cameras are definitely good enough. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we could clearly do this entire show here on the iPhone if we wanted to, but obviously not the most ideal setup. But we're gonna just kind of keep rocking. I'm back to holding the camera, so hopefully this doesn't make you guys a little nauseous or anything. RJ said, weird. It may require a restart. Sorry, don't have any other solutions for that. Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like if we did restart it, we'd probably be fine. The question that I have about restarting it, and maybe Mr. Camera Junkie, you can answer this for me, is if we haven't killed the stream yet. So if I were to just like restart Ecamm at this point, that's way too high. That is just way too high. If I were to restart the stream right now, would that kill the stream on YouTube or not? And that's honestly what I'm thinking, Jarrell. I think we might just need to like end the stream and then we'll just start another one really quick once we get the cameras back up and rolling. And then we'll just kind of keep it rolling. So hey guys, because the stream is not getting any better, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. Anybody who wants to come back and rock with us, we'd really appreciate it. We'd love to have you guys back on. So, but we're going to end this stream and then we're going to immediately start another one. So definitely come back, tune in for the next one. So yeah, I'll pop it right back up here in just a second.